morning, everyone. I think, hopefully, touch wood, we are live and everyone can hear me. If both of those things are true, then that's the first for Wednesday live. I'm sure, as usual, you'll let me know if you can't hear me. But I'm trying a slightly different format and setup this week, which is why I haven't got my microphone in. So hopefully this doesn't bugger it up for us and everyone can hear me loud and clear. Brilliant. That's awesome. So good morning, everyone. We've got lots of people watching this morning. Morning, Rachel. Morning, Martin. Morning, David. Steve, Stubby. David, probably said another David. Phil, John. Good morning, everyone. Hope we're all well, and I hope we're all having a great morning. It's been absolutely, I know a lot of you in the chat now are Operation Shuntit layout builders, and it's been absolutely amazing seeing all of your projects come together. There's still about 6 weeks left, I think, for the competition, but it's just been absolutely amazing seeing some of your work really start to come to life. So a huge thank you to everyone who's entered. And while we're on that topic, we have been organising our own exhibition for Operation Shuntit within an exhibition. So some of you may have heard of Statfold Model Railway Exhibition. It's a very new and upcoming show on the 9th and 10th of April at Statfold Miniature Railway, which I never knew existed, but looks really, really cool. Basically, the organisers have said that if we can have our own hall within the exhibition for our layouts. So if you are building an Operation Shuntit layout and you're interested in attending an exhibition full of Railway Modelers Club members and the other Operation Shuntit layouts, then please do get in touch. I've got a couple of forms that you can fill out to say you want to come, and then that'll be it. We'll be in touch later about that. But I'm really looking forward to that. Been working really hard behind the scenes to get that coming together and get that working. So if you are interested in attending, please do let me know and I will sort you out. Anyway, on to the build. Like I said, today we're doing something a little bit different format. We are looking at, for starts, the LX295 4 and 5 station platform fencing. It does say LMS or Midland Railway. I think that's a lie. I think this kit should be renamed to just station fencing, because I see this stuff absolutely everywhere. You can't escape it. Even up here in the northeast, it is all over. So we're just going to call it platform fencing. So we've got the normal standard long fence, I suppose, the platform ramp, and the gates to allow access. So we'll have a look at them, but we will also be having a look at two versions of our platform or tunnel cable hangers. These are the same, in effect, these are exactly the same as cable trunking, which is the LX295 grey box that runs parallel to the track, but this is used where there is no room for the trunking. So either on the inside of a tunnel, on the edge of a platform, or on a retaining wall if the retaining wall is too close, or there's just some restriction, which means there can't be cable trunking. So this is exactly the same stuff, it's just a different way of doing it. And we've got two different versions, which we'll be looking at later. But once we have built these, we will be painting them in a variety of shades of paints. I'll show you a couple of techniques. And then, if all goes to plan, we'll take a little break, and then I will reset the cameras and we'll head over to the model railway, to our station in building, and we will actually install these and put them in place and make them look kind of good. Unfortunately, I had an order sent up from HQ the other day via DHL 24-hour delivery. I say the other day, last week, and I'm still waiting on it. And that order was for the platforms for this, for the station, so I could show you actually put them in place on a proper, nice looking platform. But that, as you can tell, that hasn't arrived. So I'll be using the very old, very battered ScaleModelScenery prototype platform, which looks really naff because it's really old and it's been many house moves and whatnot. So it doesn't look the best, but we'll get by. And I've also, as you can tell, a bit coldy, not very well today, but we'll crack on. And I think without further ado, we will crack on with the first kit of the day, which is the LX293 Russell LX293 platform fencing. So you get 2 sprues in a pack. You get, per section of fencing, I suppose, you get 1 section of fence posts, which is this second bit down here. You get a section of the horizontal decoration posts, I suppose, and you also get a couple of padders that just make the posts that go into the floor a little bit thicker. I'm not sure what you call them. Just fence posts, really, I suppose. So we'll move one over to the side. We'll build 2 of these up because it's a fairly quick kit, and we'll get going. So as always, the first thing to do is just study the kit, see where it's being held in by the retaining nodes, and with a semi-sharp craft knife, just release them. I've been really busy this week cracking on with that model railway, so all of my tools have been used and abused. So this knife, even though it was new last week, has probably done more cutting than my old knife, which was about 2 years old. There we go. That's one part released. So that's the main structure, I suppose you'd call it. I can hear an echo, but where are the bunnymen? Don't get the reference, but I can't really do much about the echo. That might just be the equipment I'm using. It's not the best, unfortunately. I normally have a sort of microphone type thing helping me, but I can't really use that today because of what we're doing later on. But if it gets too bad, let me know and I'll put the microphones in and we'll try and get around it a different way. Okay, so just releasing the end fencing. And if you turn it the right way up, you can actually see that Justin's very kindly put markers on to show you where the retaining nodes are, which I didn't see. It's a little bit stiff, that one. Single screen, please. Oh yeah, sorry. What am I like? I normally get rid of that one, but I completely forgot. Don't blame you, not wanting to stare at my ugly mug. It's been a long week, and it's only Wednesday. I can't quite work out where this one's being held in by. I think it's there. Is that it? Are we released? I think we are. There's just a little node there. One more. So there's just a couple along the top there you've got to be careful for. This is quite a fine part, this, so you don't want to break it. Just take a little bit of extra time and care on this, no rush. Model railways take years to build, so we're not going to do ourselves any favours by pushing. So that's the 2 main parts cut out, and I think we've just got a couple of these fence post type jobbies to do. So I've just released a couple of them, so we got them to hand. So is anyone going to Doncaster Model Railway Show this weekend? I know I am. I'm really looking forward to it. I'll be going, definitely going Saturday, might be going Sunday. It's going to be a really good show and I'm really looking forward to it. Just double check, there is a back and a front to this. The back is smooth all the way across. It's probably quite hard to show, but it's smooth all the way across on the back. and the front has more raised and lowered detail. So just make sure you get it the right way. And there's a neater side and a dirty side to the fencing. I'd recommend gluing onto the dirty side, so you got the neat side shown at the back. So let's just run some glue over the fence posts. Same story as always. This is the Deluxe Materials Laser Cut Kit Glue. Really good stuff, highly recommended. Just make sure you store it in a upside down in the jam jar with some wet towel at the bottom. Just help it keep the tip moist and not clog up while you're using it. Again, I do apologise if I sound a bit sniffly. I've been had a little bit of a cold recently, as I always do for this time of year. Okay, so I'm just running the glue all the way down. Might not bother with the middle one. I think there's plenty of glue on here to keep it held in place. So I'll just put a little bit on. But I'll not bother too much about making it perfect. Yep. And immediately flip it upside down. Don't want to do that. Make sure the fencing is the right way up. And then just make sure that we've got it aligned to how we want it. And once we have, just press it down. Clive Bridge says, for all those going to Model Railway Scotland and want to say hello, I'll be wearing a Wrangler hoodie. Yep, that's a good comment. I'll be wearing my, what do you call it? Excuse me, orange Scale Model Scenery uniform, and I'll be representing Team SMS and the Rail Modelers Club. And yes, I am looking forward to Model Rail Scotland. We are doing that show as well. That's going to be a good one, although it's going to be a long one. It's a long way to Scotland. For us anyway. I know, it's not that far for me in Doncaster. But for poor Justin coming all the way down from, well, yeah, from Truro, up from Truro, that's a very long way to go. Don't envy him at all. Right, so just going to release the extra fence posts. Which is a simple enough job. These are the slightly bigger ones, which go on the every other fence post, and then I do believe we have some smaller ones at the bottom here, which go on the other alternative posts. Right, so once we've got those out of the way, Steve says that's a lot of glue. Yeah, it's probably overkill, but I made sure not to attach. There was a glue of a lot of the kit, but the actual glue that was on there was very, very fine, to make sure not to saturate the kit. So I'm probably going to do 2 at a time here. Let's move that closer. Glue pot. And I've got some tweezers on hand if I decide they're necessary. So like I say, once these have been built up, I will give them a lick of paint, and then we'll take them over to the layout, to the platform, and install them. See how they look. Is anyone else going to Model Rail Scotland? I'm definitely looking forward to that. It's going to be a good show. It's always a good show, Scotland. I just prefer it to Whalley, I think. Don't know why, but it just seems better than Whalley. Not that Whalley's not good, it's just personal preference. Just put a little bit of glue on there because it took too long and it went off a bit. Just make sure it's all lined up. It doesn't have to be perfect because it is just a fence at the end of the day. And fences I don't think ever were perfect. They were just thrown together. It's quite a nice little kit, this. Not overly expensive at all. I can't remember how much it was, but for the lengths you get in the kits, it's really quite good value for money. And as we'll be looking at in a second, you also get the gates that go with the kit and the ramps for your ramped platform sections. If we can just align this properly. Like I say, not the end of the world if it's not perfect, but we'll do our best to make it as good as possible. And get towards the end now. If you batch build these, they'll be really quick to build. And if you can get yourself a airbrush or a rattle can of an appropriate colour, these will be really quick and easy to paint as well. I'll be just brush painting them today, but I would definitely recommend an airbrush or a rattle can, simply because it's just so fine that your paintbrush, if you're too heavy with it, you might risk damaging it. But you also get into all the nooks and crannies a lot better. How do the gates work on the model railway layout, Dylan? I believe they are just fixed in place. I don't think they actually open. You can probably build them as open, and you can probably kit bash them to open if you push them slightly. But they're the same as this, same sort of design, just in a different form. Right, so now that's done. We've got 2 spare fence posts. So that's the longer ones done on the alternating, as you can see there. And now we're just going to get the sprue back. Cotton says, hopefully see you at the show. Yeah, we'll be at Doncaster, or I will be at Doncaster as a paying member of the public, just representing Scale Model Scenery and the Rail Modelers Club. But we will be at Statfold and Scotland as actually being a trader there. So it should be good. Looking forward to it, to be fair. If you just bear with us, I'll just mute you while I just blow my nose. Bear with 1 second. And we're back. Something, well, I think on actually, a new feature of our streaming software is the fact that we can have background music. I've not tested it out yet, but is that something that you would prefer? If there was a little bit of background noise, background music, just to keep you a bit more entertained, I suppose, than me just waffling on. So when there's a little bit of silence, it's not completely silent. Is that something you'd prefer? Do let me know. And if so, I might have a look at turning it on next week and seeing what it's like. You need some Arbor soil on your desk. I do. It's because I've been using copy decks all week. I always get a little bit sniffly this time of year, which isn't perfect. Okay, so we're just doing the spine of fence posts now. Depends on the music. I've not looked at it yet, but I think it's very quiet and subtle, or we'll be able to turn it down so it's very subtle. Just thought it might be a little nice addition or change to vary it a little bit. We can always try it. We can always try it and turn it off. Morning, Neil. Thank you for joining us. And morning, oh, I don't know how to pronounce that. Job Hugendorn. Sorry if I've absolutely butchered that pronunciation. Hope you're all doing well. No background music. Okay. Majority of people say no, so we'll stick with what it is. You have to stick to me wheezing and sniffling away instead. Don't can't remember who said it, but I think someone asked Yeah, James asked when is the show. If you're talking about Doncaster, it's this weekend, 9:30 till 5, I think, Saturday and Sunday. If you're talking about Scotland, I can't remember, and my calendar is now in a different part of the room, so I can't have a quick look. I'm sure someone will be willing to Google that on my behalf and let us know in the comments. Just making sure these are nice and straight. Andrew Finney says only if you're building a lift. We have got a couple of lift kits for platforms, so you never know. Careful what you wish for. Although the lifts, I don't think I'll be building them because they are too modern for my 50s layout. But hey ho. I'll do all the Steam stuff if Justin does the modern stuff. And the Engage stuff. I got given some Engage kits the other day, and I might offend the Engage modelers with us, but it's just not for me. I just can't get on with it. The locos are too small. I've got an Engage Mark 1 here. It's just too small. I can't weather that properly. I can't add lighting to that properly. It's just not for me. Too small. And I've just dropped the chassis down behind the radiator. Yeah, definitely too small. That won't happen in a double O gauge or out gauge. Right, so that's the fence done. As you can see, it looks fairly smart. And all you need to do is just build a couple more. If you're batch building these, you'll be able to knock it out in no time. But I think it looks really good. All you need to do is give it a spray coat of primer, if you're bothered, and then I recommend spraying it with what do you call it? Rattle can or spray can of a dark brown wood colour, as most of these were found in. I don't think they were often seen in a different colour, so I'd recommend keeping them neutrally brown, but a darker brown than this. In fact, I'll show you which brown we're going to paint them in later, but now we'll have a look at the gates. We'll pull that to one side. There's no need to throw it away like that. I didn't mean to. I've got two Mark 1s up there. One of them, the clips for the body are broken, and the other one hasn't. And I picked up the one where the clips for the body is broken. So when I was putting it away and holding it by the body, they decided they didn't want to be together anymore. Right, so this is the gate that we're doing. It looks like you could fairly easily make this semi-working if you wanted, but I won't be. For today anyway. But I'll show you how I think you could do it if you wanted to. Jet says they were quite often painted in black. Yes, the colour I'm going to do is called Warm Dark Shade. And it's a very, 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 very dark blue, almost. They shaft you every time. Right, so this is the fence post, not the fence post, the gate. And I would say if you wanted to make this operational, quote unquote operational, score and cut away, but don't cut all the way through, of the two hinges here between the post and the actual gate. Hopefully that would make it so you can bend the gate open. I'm not going to do that today, but it should be possible if someone wanted to do it. Roy says, was Engage what Matchbox had in their trains in the 50s and 60s? I'm not too sure on that, Roy, but I think you're correct there. But I'm not quite 100% certain. So if you can see the hair. I'm just trying to work out where the holding pins, holding nodes are for the gate. There's one. I think there's just two on either side. That one's a little bit stiff. Yep. So it just seems to be. Is that it? I think that's it. There we go. Sorted. And then exactly the same story. Overlay it and glue it. If your glue wants to cooperate today, that'd be nice. There we go. And a little bit on the diagonal. Probably a bit overkill with the glue there. But hey ho. One question I've been thinking about quite a lot recently is, does anyone listen to music when they do any modelling? And if so, what do you listen to? And would you be interested in a railway modeller's playlist where you can upload your music to a playlist which everyone has access to in the Railway Modeller's Club, and you can have a listen to what everyone else likes to listen to when they're modelling, and you never know, you might find some new and different music. So there's the fence gate with the latticed bar over the top. And I'm just going to try and work out where detailing bits go. Okay, I've got it. Sometimes it just takes a second of analysing the kit to work out where things go. ELO loud, Martin says. Yes, I agree. That's a very good choice. I've been really getting into the new Red Hot Chili Peppers song recently. Really have. And the new Muse. I'm a big Muse fan. I don't know why. I think the music's a bit Coldplay-y or sometimes, which I don't like. But for some reason, Muse just really does it for me. I think it's the addition of orchestral instruments in the same way ELO are. It just does it for me. Right, so a little bit stiff these. I think that's either the blunt knife or the thick material. But we can get there in the end. Beatles, yep. Colin says he listens to Caroline Flashback. I'm not sure who that is, Colin, unfortunately. Right, so we've got two of these little numbers, the pointed fence posts, which we are going to glue onto the pointy fence posty bit. I have been in talks with Justin as well, by the way, to get some better camera equipment so we can improve the quality of our live streams, because I haven't really noticed this before, but I was watching back a couple of old ones the other day, and the quality of Justin's is so much better than mine. So we just want to make it a bit more consistent between live streams, a bit more better quality stuff, a bit more use of software as well to make things a bit better, a bit more preparation goes into them, and a couple of other pointers just to make quality a little bit better. That's all. Tom McKee says Queen. Really agree with you there. I do like a bit of Queen. Neil says Fleetwood Mac. Yep, I'll definitely agree on that. I love a bit of Fleetwood Mac as well. It seems like we've all got pretty similar taste of music then, or pretty matching anyway. You know, not too dissimilar. I'm getting into audiobooks as well recently. I do like them, because I can't read books for toffee. Probably to do being a bit dyslexic, but I honestly can't read. I just can't sit down in a book and read it. It's impossible for me. So audiobooks, which I've just discovered, seem to be the answer to that conundrum. So we just got two more slightly smaller fence posts, which go on the back of the actual gate itself. Well, that's a bit wonky. One of the larger pointed fence posts I've just glued on is actually quite wonky, which I'm not a fan of. I just need to make sure that doesn't attach itself to the post so you can't see what I'm doing. I don't think anyone's mentioned the Rolling Stones, John. And Andrew says, Pink Floyd, yes, I've been really, really, really getting into the Dark Side of the Moon album. Really been getting into that recently. That is a superb album. And if you just bear with us, just got to blow no second, so I'll just quickly mute you. Sorry about that, folks. Got really quite big of a cold recently. Woke up with one this morning. Really runny nose and streaming eyes, which isn't the best combination. So anyway, we've done the fence gate, which looks fairly smart, I think. Yeah, one or two of these along your fence, break it up a bit. Gives you an excuse to have a nice little path. Or an overgrown path or something like that. There it is. Have I done it the wrong way? I have as well. What's that saying? Measure twice, cut how many times? Right, okay. So as you can see, on the fence post, the slats go horizontally to the right, but on the gate, they go horizontally to the left. And looking at the instructions, it does show you can build it both ways, but I obviously wasn't paying that much attention, and I should have built it the other way to match our fence. Oh well. Oh well, oh well. Worst things have happened at sea, as I like to say. Just make sure I've made the mistake so you don't have to. Just make sure you don't make those mistakes when I've shown you. Make sure that if you build them all the same orientation, I mean, you can. I don't know. That might be accurate. That might actually exist in real life, where the gate goes the opposite way to the rest of the fence. I don't know. I can't say I've paid that much close attention to these. But just make sure you get them the right way that you want them anyway. So we're going to have a look at the ramped ones now, which are exactly the same style. I'm just going to read a couple more comments. Couple of more music choices, but it looks like most of us have the same sort of what do you call it? Sorry, music taste. Jonathan says, does anyone distribute ScaleModelScenery products in Sweden, and will anyone be presenting at Scandinavian shows? Now that's a good question. I think we'd love to do a show in Scandinavia, but whether we can actually get there or not, that's a different question, because that will add a whole extra cost barrier to us going. But I would love to. If anyone would like to sponsor our travel costs to get there, that would be great. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But we do actually post worldwide, including Scandinavia. So you can have mail orders sent out, albeit customs and postal delays are not in our control. There's nothing we can really do about that. Well, the chat's moving so quick, I can't keep up. I have no idea what everyone's talking about now, so I'm just going to crack on. There we go, just releasing the nodes. It's exactly the same as the other, or exactly the same principle as the other two parts we've already completed, but this will give you the whole number that you need. Super. Oof. That looks really confusing for some reason. Just trying to work out how we should be doing it. Bear with 1 second. Okay, I think it's this one we need, because I think these are orientated left and right. Whereas even the horizontals, sorry. So I think it's this one we need. The second one up to match our fencing. Let me just double check. Yep, that's the ticket. So I'll move that one to the side. And we'll release the fence posts. So since everyone has a similar taste in music, I reckon it'd be quite a good idea to get a playlist going in the Real Modelers Club of everyone's music taste. There'll probably be like a link to Spotify and Apple Music or something, which you'll all be able to join and add your taste of music onto. Good morning, Jason from Barnabas Junction. Hope you're doing well. And Jonathan says, God bless Brexit. Yeah. It's certainly not done wonders for the cost of postage. We'll just leave it at that before we get too political. Right, so I've made sure we've got the correct orientation, so the fence is going the right way. But of course, depending on how you do your kit, will depend on what orientation you want. Just make sure you've got it correct for what you are after. So just adding the same story now. A little bit of glue. Probably way too much. Way more than we actually need. Morning, David. Bit late, but welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. And then just press that down, making sure it's aligned to how you want it. Making sure you're happy with how it looks. I know I am, so I'm going to press that down now. Keep it going. And we'll flip it over and we'll do the fence posts, which look fairly easy. It's just a couple of long ones, I think. Oh, no, there's a couple of short ones as well that we can add in. Right, let's get cracking. Because I'm wary of the time. Don't spend too long. You've still got the cable hangers to look at next, which are very easy kit. You just release them and paint them. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 4 of these long ones per ramp. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3 short ones, or shorter fence posts. Super. Same story. We'll begin with the larger ones. Got an imposter there. You don't need glue below the bottom crossbar. Yes, I did actually realise that. I'd hope no one else would notice. But I didn't do it on all of them for whatever reason. I only did it on a couple of the fence posts. Don't know why. Must just be me. A spontaneous smooth brain moment, I think we'll call that. Or a gremlin. I suppose gremlins are more computer issues though. Would SMS like some exposure in the local Scandinavian modelling press? Yes, we very much would. I have no idea how we would go about that, but it's something we'd definitely be interested in. We'd love to open up more to the European market and do some European outline buildings, because of course everything we do is British. It's it's either a bit of Irish but mainly British stuff. But we would love to break into the European market a bit more. But the issue there is posting out to anywhere apart from the UK is expensive, really expensive, time consuming, and you can be hit with unexpected charges from customs depending on how well our two postal services are getting on at that moment in time. So it's a bit of a minefield, to be honest, but we would love to. Initially, yes, we would love to, but how and the logistics about that are a lot more complicated than just saying yes. Okay, so the main fence posts are now on, giving the kit a little bit more depth. So now I'm going to move on to the final ones, which alternate between the thick ones. And then this would be the kit done, apart from painting it, which we will do, and then we'll take a quick comfort break, if you can call it that, while I set up the cameras to look over at the model railway. The as yet unnamed model railway, but I think I'm going to go with Hollymore. Colin says out of focus. That isn't something I can do, unfortunately. That's another limitation of my camera equipment. That is my personal iPhone. And unfortunately, when I use this streaming software, it lacks the ability to focus on something. So unfortunately, I can't do anything about it apart from try and move things so they are in focus. But hopefully you can see that is the ramped fence done. And I think it looks quite nice, quite smart. So we've got the main number, the main fence, the gate, which I built in the wrong orientation, but I don't think anyone will really notice, and then the ramp. So I'm going to put these to a side for 1 second while we have a look at the cable hangers, and then we'll paint them up. But first, I'm thirsty. I'm going to have a drink. Cheers. Right, cable hangers. So like I say, these are pretty much exactly the same thing as cable trunking, except these go in a location where cable trunking isn't viable, such as in the inside of a limited clearance tunnel. London Underground, they're very, very common there, and especially in the southeastern region of the country. But they're also very common around, maybe not as much today, but especially in the steam era, these were common as muck around platforms. These will be put along the edge of a platform instead of the normal cable trunking, which actually came around later on. From the 50s, I think cable trunking was, but don't quote me on that. But anyway, we'll be having a look at these now. We've got two versions to look at. We've got ones that have been cut in almost like a resin, which we'll look at in a bit, and the laser cut ones. And as you'll see now, when you get your ScaleModelScenery kits, they actually say who made the kit. So this was picked and packed by Claire. So thank you very much, Claire. Claire's wonderful. She's one of the most bubbliest persons I've ever met. So there's all the team at ScaleModelScenery down at HQ. They're all absolutely brilliant. Okay, so these are simply laser cut. So all we need to do is, without ruining the kit because it's so fine, we need to remove the nodes holding it in situ. But it's such a fine thing, we really don't want to run the risk of breakages. Once I release it, hopefully I'll be able to give you a better closer up look. And a little top tip, if you're struggling to release the nodes, do it from the back of the kit. Right. Really hope that focuses, but I don't think it will. So these are them, cable hangers. Hopefully that can, I'm trying my best, but it might not be that clear. All you need to do is paint them black, and then cut them in place. If you want to daisy chain them, cut off one end, and then you can simply attach more and more and more. So that's pretty much it. There's quite a bit of nice engraved detail on there, but apart from that, that's it. I suppose that version is more representation, a very, very accurate, very, very close representation rather than a precise model, shall we say, but it still really does look the part and looks absolutely fine. This version, which is LX281 as opposed to LX282, is, once I get the instructions open, we'll have a look. It does say what they're made from, like a plastic. See if I can read. No, I think there's actually like a laser cut from some kind of plastic, which I've never seen before. This is new to me. This is very new to me. Okay. I've never seen this material before, but we'll release one and have a look. So the idea behind this is these are just the actual hangers. You glue the hangers on to the side of your platform, like that. Can you see that? Is that focusing? So you'd glue that onto the edge of your platform, that way up. Oops, that way. Come on, that way up. And then you would thread some very fine thread or wire or something to that effect between them, which I suppose would give you a more realistic finish, but will be a lot more time consuming. So I suppose it depends which route you want to go down with that. Either you want to use the thread and plastic version or the semi pre-done laser cut versions. I think these look better personally, but it depends how much time you've got. It depends how much effort you are willing to put into that small detail. If you want to really go to town, I'd recommend using these, but a quick fix, I'd recommend going for these. We'll have a look at both later, don't worry. I will have a look at gluing both on, but I haven't got any threads to hand, so I won't be able to put the wires in. But like I say, that will be down to you. Okay, so how long have we going for? About 50 minutes. So I'm going to quickly paint up some of these, and then we'll have a look at gluing them in place. So this is the Life Colour Weathered Wood paint set. Highly, highly, highly recommended by me. You've got enough paints here to create any combination texture of weathered dark wood, and there's an equal set for light wood as well. Really highly recommended. Today we'll be using warm dark shade, and we might have a little bit of warm base in there just to give it a little bit of extra colour and texture. They are available from Scale Model Scenery. They come in a pack of 6 and they cost about £17, I think. It's probably slightly more expensive than you're used to paying for paints, but honestly, really, really highly recommended. They are absolutely brilliant. Let's give these paints a little mix. And they don't just do weathered wood, they do rail weathering sets, stone sets, pavement sets. They do something for everything pretty much. They are an amazing paint company, highly recommended. They are pretty good. Right, where have I put paintbrushes? There they are. So, wet your paintbrush a little bit. Andrew says, what's your favourite biscuit? Mine aren't strictly biscuits, but Jaffa cakes. My favourite biscuit, oh. Would it be wrong to say the nearest? The nearest biscuit is my favourite biscuit? I think that's probably a bit greedy. But in all seriousness, those ginger biscuits you get, those dark chocolate and gingers, they are probably my favourite by a country mile. Although they are expensive, they're not your typical run-of-the-mill biscuits. They're your more, we've got guests coming biscuits. But if it was your standard biscuit, your standard McVitie or whatever, I would say dark chocolate digestives are my favourites. So this is the, what shade is this? This is the warm dark shade. This is the shade closest to what I normally see this style of fencing in. But I believe it was Jed earlier said these are sometimes painted black. This is a very, very close shade to black. Very, very close. I would recommend spraying this on rather than painting it, because it's very difficult to get in all the nooks and crannies. There's a lot of layers to paint up once you've glued it. And it's just a little bit difficult to get in there. Doable, it's possible, but with an air gun or a rattle can, it'll just be that bit more easier. But as you can see, it's going on really easily. Don't have to do much messing about. You could prime this if you want, but as long as you're quick with the paint, don't use too much. There's no real reason why you should have to. That's a personal opinion, as long as you're brave and quick. Now, Andrew's just said wagon wheels are his favourite. I would agree with you 10 years ago. 10 years ago, wagon wheels were the best things ever. I don't know if it's me that's growing up, my tastes have changed, or shrinkflation, meaning that the ingredients have got low quality and the size has changed, but I remember wagon wheels used to be huge. Absolutely huge. The size of a dinner plate. And now, are tiny. And not even chocolate anymore. Wagon wheels, if you read the instructions, not the instructions, the ingredients list on the back, they are made from chocolate flavoured coating. It's not even chocolate that they're made from, which I think is outrageous. David Swallow says Great Western Railway fencing next. I'm not entirely sure if there was strictly a different style for the Great Western Railway. There probably was, because it's the Great Western Railway, and they seemed to be hell-bent on putting their name on absolutely everything. If it was a bench, it'll have a Great Western logo on it. If it was fencing, it'll probably have a Great Western logo on it. So there probably is a Great Western version of this. It wouldn't surprise me at all. But yes, if it's in the range, I can't quite picture if it is or not. If it's in the range, I will have a look at it. And hopefully, today, my DHL parcel, which was sent 24-hour delivery last week, will be here today. Which means I can build up the platforms, proper platforms for the layout. And I can actually write some articles on installing fencing properly. Not that I'm not doing it properly now, but I just think it would be nice if I took a bit more time, took some pictures as I was doing it, and made a nice article for you. So have a look out for that in the next couple of weeks. I've been very quiet on the club recently, and I really do apologise for that. But I'm doing a job at the moment in the background, admin spreadsheet stuff, that just takes forever, absolutely forever. It's such a long, laborious task. I absolutely hate doing it, but it needs to be done. So I'm just concentrating on that. But it does mean that our Instagram, the content being put in the club, has taken a dip this week, and I do apologise. I really do. I'm trying to get it done as quickly as possible for you, so it can keep the good quality content going. Right, so I'll just read back some comments. Yeah, loads of people commenting about their favourite biscuits. So many I can't keep up. Clyde Bridge says, modelling idea for you all, a car in a pond. Yeah, that's a bit different. Car in a pond. I suppose it beats a bus on a bridge. That seems to be a stereotypical one. So painted one side, just quickly flip it over and do the next. I wouldn't worry about too much about making this complete neat and perfect. I'm just wary of time at the moment. But I will, like I say, do a nice article on this, take some better photos, and take some more time doing the actual painting and whatnot to make it look really good. So there'll be articles on the club on how to do what I'm doing now, and later when I install the fencing and the cable trunking. Not cable trunking, cable hangers. This is difficult part. So we're doing the back now, which isn't flush sided. It's very, very much all over the shop, so it just means there's quite a lot of details just to get your paintbrush in. But a nice small paintbrush, but not too small, seems to be coping with it really well. Gonna have to clean my mat after this. I've got paint all over it. USN 17 says Great Western Railway had spear fencing. Someone did an etched version behind with a spear. I think we do that. I think we do some form of spear top fencing. I actually think I might have designed it. It rings a bell. It wasn't station fencing I was doing, but it was very similar, so it might be in the range. If not, I'll have a look. Steve says, like watching paint dry. Yeah, sorry about that. To speed things up, I might only paint this one section, and then just glue the rest in unpainted. Because it's not. If I had, I keep badgering on about this. If I had a spray can, it'll all be done by now. To a much higher finish as well. Because obviously you can get in all of the nooks and crannies a lot better than what I can. So I'll just quickly, that's what I'll do. I'll quickly finish this off, this one section, and then rather do the rest, I'll just glue them in unpainted. Steve says Ratio used to do them, probably still do. I'm pretty certain we do the kit. I'm really struggling to rack my brains now, but if not, I'll have a look and I'll add it to the list. There's probably some very slight detail variation on it that we don't do, but that's easily corrected. So nearly there now. Last bit. I'll flip it over so I can paint it a bit easier. And there we go. Not perfect. Lots of gaps, especially from the top angle. But that will do. Since we're live, I don't want to be spend the next hour painting some brown fencing. Barnabas says, have you tried the winter spice Twix? Yes, I have, and I have bought a very large box of them for the winter, for over summer, so I don't have to go without. What I'm quickly going to do, I think though, is I'm going to paint these black. So when I compare them against the other ones, the plastic ones, they are the same colour. So it just gives it a little bit of more fair game. So this is just life colour black paint, which is just, I don't think it's in a set, it's just buy it separately. Give the brush a little quick clean. Headbutt the camera to apologise. And a minute amount of black. Since this is so fine, we don't want to saturate the kit. I'll definitely recommend spray painting these. because it's just so fine. The spray can will be able to get a much finer finish than what the brush can. Makes it so much better. So I'm just going to quickly finish these off so we can give it a good comparison to the plastic version. Just paint both sides. Probably don't need to, since we're gluing one side on, but it just means that nothing gets missed. And that's way too much paint on there, so I'll try and spread that out. LX282 laser cut platform fencing is another option in your range. Yes, it is. That's the... So you know how this is horizontal? I believe that is actually more of a vertical number rather than being horizontal. I believe that's the difference between those two. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong. Right, so that's that painted. So now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to explain quickly. I'm going to mute this camera, turn that one on with the microphone on, which might I don't know how that will go. And then I'm going to turn this camera off, move it all around, and then we're going to head over to the layout and actually install these. So it could be a minute of just some loud bangs, rattling and whatnot. And you might lose microphone for a second, so just talk among yourselves. And I will be back in as soon as possible. Hopefully you can still hear me. That's rattling now. Testing. Oh no. Okay, we'll just carry on. 1 second. Put some music on. Actually, I wonder if I can. Sorry about that, folks. Hopefully you can still hear and see me. Really hope you can. I'm sure you'll let me know if you can't. Sorry about the music. I kind of feel like saying your call is important to us or something. Right, hopefully everyone can hear me. So welcome to the model railway. I'm pretty certain, I'm just waiting for comments, people say you can't hear me or whatnot. So now we're going to have a look on this platform piece at installing some of the fencing and the cable trunking. So I'm just going to shift some of these wagons out the way. I'll shift this piece of track out the way. And we'll move this a little bit closer. I'll bring my glue pot over. People are now saying in the chat that they can hear and see me, which is great. So welcome to Polymore Model Railway, as it'll probably be called. Like I say, this is the prototype platform. I was really hoping on having a proper platform built up ready for this, but DHL have let us down big time on that one. So everyone, if you know James Cullen, go and throw your abuse at him. Okay, so like I say, this is a prototype platform. It's very tatty. It doesn't look the best, but the principle is the same. There's a nice undershot view of how you put it together. Nice simple kit. MDF 3mm kits, which you simply glue together. Very, very easy, quick to build. And then you have texture wraps, which you glue over the top. As you can see, it's just battered, old, prototype naff. But for this very moment in time, it's the best we've got, so it's what we'll carry on with. So I've got the cable hangers here, and I'm just going to add a tiny bit of glue to the back of these, and then attach them on so you can see what they look like. And then I'll get some of the plastic ones. So that's going on there. These might be a little bit hard to see because the texture wrap I used on the prototype was what do you call it, dark weathered stone, and I'm struggling to read the comments. 1 second. I've just moved my laptop a bit so I can read comments a bit better. Sorry for loud banging, that's me trying to get my stuff organised. So, hopefully you can see that. That is the standard LX282, I believe, cable hangers, which is the laser cut version. So now I'm just going to release a couple of these laser cut, what do you call it, doodads? The laser cut plastic cable hangers, and we'll glue them on and we'll see what they look like. I haven't got the wires to attach, unfortunately, but hopefully we'll be able to get by and you'll still be able to see what they would look like if you had your own hangers to put in place. So hopefully the elevator lift music was worth it, and hopefully you're enjoying seeing me actually do this on a real model rather than just on a workbench. Different element to it, hopefully. Different aspects. The layout is, I've nearly got the first running line working, the down line. But unfortunately, due to Pico not having the appropriate points, if I just shift this platform, hopefully you'll be able to see. So where the A2 is, there is a point here. There's going to be a slip, single slip going on the other side of that point, which obviously doesn't exist at the moment in Bullhead. So I can't lay the up main until that point's in. And I can't do that until Pico get their acts together. So I'll just have one line going for the moment, which is a bit annoying. But that is just life, unfortunately. Jason from Barnabas Junction has asked, what is the thickness of those kits, Dylan? We'll recommend checking loco clearance. Do you mean the hangers and whatnot? I don't know if you can tell, but there's a realistic lip to this platform. Which I can't remember what is the dimension of that, but these hangers come well within that lip. I think they're 0.4 mil or something like that. These plastic ones are considerably thicker, but I'm not sure on the thickness of that. But they should very easily come within the loading gauge of your model. So all I'm doing now is I've just added a little bit of glue. I'm not sure how this will stick onto a texture sheet because it's plastic onto paper with wood glue. It's probably not the best. Something like rocket glue might be better. I don't think this is really wanting to stick. Yeah, as you can see, I think this is the wrong glue for the job. I might have to try some plastic cement or something, but that might ruin the texture sheet. But this is only prototype and it's being replaced today, so I'm not fussed. This is really not wanting to stick. I might just give it a second. Oh, I've done it upside down. When I finally got it to go, I did it upside down. So don't forget the hangers bend upwards, so obviously they can hold cables in place. So there's one done. Simon says he has the same problem. He's been waiting for the double slips, so I reckon I'll have to join the plain line in the meantime. Tom has to go. Thanks for joining us, Tom. And Barnabas Junction says thickness depth of the platform wall. The thickness, which is between my two fingers, is 3 or 4 mil. I can't quite remember. I think it's 4. The height is about 18 mil, including the top piece. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's about 4 mil thick. Definitely either 3 or 4. Just can't quite remember which. So with the cable hangers, just make sure you get them lined up. A ruler might come in handy, but I think I'm using the wrong glue. So once I've got this one in place, I'm going to quickly go and get another glue, which might work a bit better. But I'll be able to see if it does work. I'll be able to tell you if it does or not, so you can avoid my mistakes. Andrew says, anyone watching from Pico? If so, tell production to get their finger out. Oh, I doubt anyone's watching from Pico, but that'd be nice. So now I'm going to try with Deluxe Materials Plastics Magic, which might have a negative effect on the texture sheet, but I will be making that mistake, so you don't have to. So I'm on a roller chair and trying to get it close enough to the model railway so I can do it without it banging on the trestle. Is a bit difficult. So just checking you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, I was speaking to Pico a while ago, and they said watch this space in regards to the slips in Bullhead, which we're waiting for. What that means, when that means, I don't know. Okay, so it looks like this plastic cement isn't really working either. It just seems to be a little bit difficult getting these to glue on. Something like Yoo-Hoo might be better, but I don't own any Yoo-Hoo at the moment, so I can't test that out. Yeah, that's not working. So okay, it just seemed to me that when you use the laser cut kit glue, it does work. It's just a pain getting it to work. But once it's on, it's on. So we'll go back to that. I'll get one more in, and then we'll compare the look of the two. But the plastic stuff, plastic glue, doesn't seem to work. Neither does the laser cut kit glue, but it works better at least. So you also have to try and get the correct spacing with these cable hangers. since you are gluing them in loose. I would recommend deciding what spacing you want in millimeters, getting a ruler, and then just marking out with a pencil where each one's going to go. I don't think it matters you get a bang-on spacing, but as long as it looks right from a 3-foot viewing distance, it is right as far as I'm concerned. But these are not easy to glue into place. That's as best I can do. Right, I'm just going to wait for that to set. Never mind, I've had enough of that. Right, Rachel says, how can you not have Yoo-hoo? I have the jitters if there's no Yoo-hoo in the house, because I absolutely hate the stuff, Rachel. I can't get on with it. It's just messy, gets everywhere, stringy and annoying for me personally, but that's just me, not that's just probably just me, user error, unfortunately. Horn Manish says, can you get these fences in 3mm scale? I don't think so, but we do similar fences. I believe it's the LX282 in 3mm scale, which is very similar. It's just vertical rather than horizontal in appearance. So let me just shift that. Bit of flex. Bang. So, balancing act time. Showing you a different type of hangers. So that's the LX282, I believe, and that's the LX281, or vice versa. And actually, for the effort, I'm going to say that wins for me. That looks perfectly acceptable from a 3-foot viewing distance. That's a lot thicker in appearance as well. The plastic one's probably more realistic, but I'm going to say the LX282 is better for me. I prefer them. But that's a matter of personal opinion. If I had more time, I'd probably say these. But for a quick fix, the LX282 gets the win for me. Right, so now let's move on to the fencing. We're going to start with the angled stuff. Or are we? Because the ramp isn't long. The ramp isn't long enough to have the full. So the ramp finishes here. So we'll need to cut this section off. Just the last section. So can you still see me? Yes, you can. So my laptop's over there, back on the desk. So it's quite hard for me to see comments and whatnot. Okay, so that's that layer cut through. That's that next layer cut through. Just rocking the craft knife backwards and forwards. Should probably be doing this on a cutting mat. Oh well, we'll live. This area is going to be covered in the platform soon anyway. There we go. Doesn't look the most appealing. And we'll also have to trim the legs a bit, because I believe you actually meant to drill holes for the legs. But if you wanted to just glue them straight on, then obviously they need to go. Can you still see what I'm doing? Ish. Well, that's good enough for us. Okay, so there's one leg cut off. Trimmed, shall we say. There's the next one. Just a tiny bit more on the third. I'll show you what we're doing in a second once I've done it. Okay. So in order to glue them flush, you need to just trim the legs off a little bit. David said your platform looks wide. It's the, yeah, so up to this line here, that's the standard kit, and then that's the extension. I just went for a slightly wider number. Andrew says, light bulb moments, the horizontals on the laser cut cable hangers are supposed to represent the cables. Yes, that is exactly right. That is what we're there for. It is meant to represent cables, pulleys, semaphore items, that sort of thing. Okay, so add glue to the base of your fencing. Like I say, this is just a prototype of the platform. It probably doesn't look the best, but it's not meant to. I was meant to have a much nicer finish version to show today, but DHL have let us down, unfortunately. So there we have it. It's still drying, the glue, so I'll be very, very careful. And I'll try not to bash my new Sutton's 24. I should probably let that set a bit better before I try to show you, because I've just knocked it off. Oh well, more glue. That's the joy of modelling. You make mistakes, so you just going to have to believe me. I've glued it onto the edge. And then I'll just quickly do the second piece. Make sure it looks kind of straight. Like that. Knock the doodah. And then get the second piece. Again, we're going to have to trim the legs off. I might see if Justin can do a version without the legs. Because unless you want to drill holes into your platform, it's going to be a pain to cut all of these legs off. So I might quickly see if Justin can do that. If he's watching, I'm sure he'll let me know. He'll probably be cursing me for giving him more work, but I think it needs to be done because it's just a bit unneat and a bit of a pain to have to cut all of the what sits off legs. If we could just put them straight onto a layout, that would be much, much better. But like I say, hopefully by the end of today, we'll have a proper platform in place. So I'll be able to write some better articles on detailing platforms, because this month, as you might have figured out, we're doing monthly themes now in modelling for our post-it themes. Last month was the, what was last month? Line side detailing. So everything we did in the Wednesday live and everyday post-it themes was to do with line side detailing, and we released a couple of kits to do with that. But this month it is the turn of the station detailing. So everything we're doing this month, most kit releases, Wednesday lives and post-it themes, will be station detailing bits, such as these. So that's why we're doing it. So just adding a little bit of glue to the trimmed off fence posts. I will definitely see if Justin can do a version with them already at level. I'm just going to glue down the horizontal on this side as well, since it's putting up to the, what do you call it, the mount version. Try and make sure that is level. That looks about good to me. And once you've got it sort of in place, you can always go behind and add a bead of glue. Barnabas says, can SMS do a teasel traction maintenance depot? I don't know what a teasel is. I think that's a mix between diesel and traction maintenance depot detailing theme too. Yes, we can. We've got all 12 months planned out, and some of them are modern depot themes and some are steam depot themes. Right, so we're just getting onto the gate post now, which numbnuts here did the wrong way, but we'll pass by that. So I'd just like to ask again, if you're going to Doncaster show this weekend, I'll be there. Feel free to say hello, and I will be more than happy to stop for a chinwag and a conversation. David Chandler says, Dylan, what do you have under your tracks? It is 3mm cork. It helps give the track a realistic raised level, and it also helps deaden the sound of trains moving over the top. You can buy it £10 off eBay for a number of rolls, and it's really good stuff. Highly recommended. Just makes your track work look a little bit more realistic. Right, so that, if it is level, which it kind of appears to be, not the straightest and perfectest, but we are doing this live, so there'll always be errors in that sense. So there it is. You can't really see, so I'll just try and shift it around a bit. Let's move some stuff so I can give you a better view. Let's move the Suttons 24, Batman J 72. Hopefully, and there we go. David just says, how do you lay cork under curves like on a Helix? Since this is straight, this is double cut to double track thickness. If you were doing curved, you'd cut it down to single track thickness, and then you'd cut it in half. So the join will be in the middle of the sleepers, and that will allow you to bend it around corners. Andrew says, wouldn't a fence like that be on legs? I've seen most of them put on the floor, to be fair. But I think you could probably easily do it with the legs stuck on too. And Tom says he'll be at Doncaster on Sunday. You can probably do these raised up, but I've seen the majority of these at station level. But as you can see, that adds a whole nother depth of realism to the layout. And if I put it in situ, in place, I'll bring the train back. That was one of my pilches has derailed, which is a sentence I don't think anyone said before. Let's see if I can move the camera to be closer. Snap. That's just broken. Let me quickly tighten that back up again. Can you see? No, you can't. Just move it down and around. And there you go. Obviously, some of it's painted, some of it's not. But I think that looks really quite smart. So that is the LX293, 294 and 295 platform ramps. I think it looks really smart, That's really quite a nice addition to any platform. And obviously, you've got the, I'll have to pick it up and move it again because I did it in the wrong place, the cabling there as well, versus the plastic version. I think I prefer laser cut, where you've got both options there to model as you wish. So I think we'll leave it there. We've been going for quite a while now. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's live stream. I know I certainly have. It's been a great little show. And if you've got any questions, stick them in the chat now. I'll do our best to answer them before we go. David says, I have a load of underlay from laminate flooring. It's a soft foam type. Would this work under the tracks? I would say so. Foam, I'm a bit more skeptical about because the Pico track lane foam that they sell is ridiculously expensive for what it is very, very, very flammable, as I found out to my expense, and it disintegrates over a couple of years. So it's not the best stuff to use, the Pico foam, but I'm not too sure about the standard foam, underlay foam. So I'll just have a double check on that. Right, so thank you very much for watching this morning. Hope you're all, I hope to see some of you at Doncaster anyway. If not, I'll probably see the rest of you at Scotland, and I'll hopefully see you all in another live stream sometime soon, whenever that may be. And hopefully, if this gets the thumbs up, we'll be doing it in this format for this month. Because obviously, since I'm building the station, it makes sense to actually show you me building it on a real model rather than just on a workbench. I think that adds another great dimension to the live stream. Right then, good stuff. I'm off for a brew. It's been an hour and a half since I've last had a drink, so I am parched, and I will catch you all later. So have a good one, and I'll see you over on the club. Thanks, everyone.